There comes a time in every man's life when he begins to understand that not all protection looks like comfort, and not all isolation is punishment. Some of it, perhaps the most meaningful part of it, is divine intervention. For Sigma males, this truth becomes especially clear because Sigma males walk a path that is different, quieter, and often misunderstood. Their journey doesn't rely on social approval, group identity, or constant interaction. Instead, it unfolds in the hidden places, within solitude, within discipline, within a mind that refuses to be shaped by chaos or noise. And yet, if you look closely at the life of a Sigma male, you'll notice a pattern. People fall away. Connections dissolve. Certain environments close their doors. And at first it may feel confusing. You may wonder why relationships shift, why certain individuals reveal their true intentions, or why the Sigma suddenly sees through the masks that others wear. But with time, you begin to notice something deeper. God removes some people not because the Sigma did something wrong, but because those people were not meant to sit close to a man with a rare spirit. The Sigma male carries a type of inner clarity, a spiritual sensitivity that makes him incompatible with manipulation, deceit, and emotional destruction. And God knows this. So he intervenes, quietly, subtly, but intentionally. Sometimes God shields the Sigma from evil people long before the Sigma even recognizes the threat. A closed door becomes protection. A sudden distance becomes mercy. A quiet season becomes preparation for something greater. This is the part of the Sigma journey that is rarely talked about. The spiritual dimension, the unseen guidance, the divine filtering process that preserves a man's energy, purpose, and emotional stability. Today, we're going to explore the signs that God is shielding Sigma males from destructive people, those who drain, deceive, manipulate, or distract. These signs are not dramatic. They're not loud. They're not wrapped in intensity. Instead, they appear quietly, like God whispering, "Not this one, not them, keep walking." Let's take our time, move slowly, and uncover these truths with clarity and purpose. The 6 signs God shields Sigma males from evil people. Number 1, sudden discomfort around someone without any logical reason. Sigma males move through the world with a kind of awareness that cannot be taught or imitated. It is not loud, dramatic, or mystical. It is simply the natural result of a lifetime of observation, solitude, and spiritual sensitivity. While most people rely on words, actions, or proof to determine someone's intentions, the Sigma operates differently. His mind studies patterns without trying, and his spirit reads people long before their behavior exposes them. This intuitive perception is not guesswork. It is a refined internal instrument that God himself strengthens over time. When someone carries deceit, envy, manipulation, or hidden malice in their spirit, the Sigma feels it instantly. Not through paranoia, but through an inner stirring, a quiet alertness, as if something within him shifts a few degrees. The atmosphere changes, the energy feels heavier, and his instincts begin to sharpen. He may not yet know the exact reason, but he knows something is off. This sense is not emotional, it is spiritual. It rises from a place deeper than conscious thought, a place where logic and intuition merge into pure understanding. And more often than not, time proves him right. This discomfort is what many ignore, suppress, or rationalize away, but the Sigma listens. For him, that tightening in the chest, that sudden quietness in the mind, or that small urge to distance himself is God's early warning system, subtle but precise. It is God's way of whispering, pay attention. Something here is not what it seems. The Sigma does not need evidence, because God gives him discernment. He sees the unseen motives, the camouflaged jealousy, the quiet resentment behind the smile. People reveal themselves to him spiritually long before they reveal themselves physically. This sensitivity is not a burden but a shield. God equips the Sigma with discernment, so he does not attach himself to the wrong people, waste his energy on hidden enemies, or walk blindly into emotional traps. It protects him from environments where his spirit would be drained and from relationships that look harmless on the surface but carry spiritual danger underneath. The Sigma may not vocalize this sense. He simply withdraws, becomes observant, and lets distance tell the truth. Others might call it detachment, coldness, or overthinking, but he knows it is protection. In reality, this gift is one of God's greatest blessings to the Sigma male. It allows him to navigate life with clarity, recognize danger without chaos, and stay aligned with the path God has chosen for him. He survives what destroys others because he moves not by sight alone, but by a higher inner knowing that God placed within him. Number 2, doors close before harm can reach him. Life has a subtle way of rearranging itself around the Sigma male, often in ways that others may misinterpret. Opportunities fall apart without warning. Friendships fade without an argument. Conversations that once felt promising suddenly lose momentum. To the average person, these moments are labeled as setbacks, simple inconveniences, unfortunate timing, or bad luck. But the Sigma male, operating with a deeper sense of awareness and spiritual alignment, sees something far more intentional at play. He recognizes that not every closed door is a punishment. Some are protection. Not every ending is a loss. Some are divine interventions disguised as disappointments. And not every separation is rejection. Some are God's way of removing a hidden snare long before it has the chance to tighten around him. The Sigma male's path is not built on constant activity or endless social connections. His journey is slow, internal, observant, and spiritually filtered. Because he carries a quieter spirit and a more discerning mind, he often senses danger long before it manifests. But even when his intuition doesn't speak, God does. There are traps designed in silence, people with concealed intentions, opportunities wrapped in deception, and environments that appear neutral, but contain long-term harm. And because the Sigma male is often destined for impact, growth, and leadership, he cannot afford attachments that drain his energy or derail his purpose. So when something collapses unexpectedly, he's not confused. Instead, he pauses, breathes, and pays attention. He knows that disruption is often divine redirection. Many never understand this perspective. They chase closure, explanations, and emotional certainty. But the Sigma male moves differently. He has learned that God often reveals the truth, not by showing what something is, but by removing it before it becomes what it was never meant to be. What others mourn as loss, he sees as a timeline being corrected. What others perceive as someone pulling away, he understands as God pulling him forward. And while his calm reaction may confuse people, it is rooted in trust, a trust that whatever leaves his life was not meant to remain, and whatever remains has already survived divine filtering. In time, the pattern becomes undeniable. Every friendship that dissolved protected him from betrayal he didn't yet see. Every missed opportunity saved him from unnecessary burden. And every abandoned conversation shielded him from emotional entanglement with the wrong person. The Sigma male is not exempt from disappointment, but he is protected from destruction. And this protection, quiet, consistent, and precise, is one of the clearest signs that God is actively guiding his path, even when the moment feels inconvenient. For the Sigma male, nothing falls apart by accident. Everything is placement, everything is timing, everything is protection. Number 3, the wrong people reveal their true colors. Quickly. The Sigma does not tolerate fake behavior, not because he is harsh, but because his spirit is simply incompatible with anything that lacks truth. His energy is built on sincerity, internal stability, and personal authenticity. People who live in manipulation, hidden motives, or emotional disguise cannot maintain their facade in his presence for long. The Sigma's calm observation, his quiet emotional boundaries, and his refusal to respond to surface-level theatrics create a kind of psychological heat that exposes insincerity without him ever lifting a finger. What most people don't realize is that fake individuals depend on reactive people to survive. They draw power from confusion, emotional noise, and distraction. But the Sigma gives them none of it. He listens without absorbing. He observes without attaching. He interacts without surrendering control of his inner world. This neutral field leaves deceptive people strangely uncomfortable. They sense they cannot hook him. They cannot manipulate him. Their usual tactics have no effect. And when manipulation loses its grip, the truth inevitably surfaces. That is why people with hidden agendas accidentally reveal themselves early around a Sigma. Their lies slip, their stories contradict, their tone shifts, their mask cracks. It is not the Sigma forcing anything. It is the Sigma's stillness that pressures dishonesty into breaking apart. His authenticity pulls the truth to the surface, the way heat pulls impurities out of metal. But beneath this psychological dynamic, there is also a deeper spiritual one. God protects those who walk with integrity. When a person is building their life on inner discipline, moral alignment, and a genuine pursuit of purpose, divine timing works differently for them. What would take months or years to reveal in someone else's life often shows up in days for a Sigma. This is not a coincidence, it is acceleration. God allows the wrong people to expose themselves quickly so the Sigma does not get entangled in relationships or environments that would drain his purpose. The Sigma's path requires clarity, not chaos. His mission requires emotional strength, not distraction. So when someone approaches him with manipulation, God shortens the timeline. Their true nature slips out earlier than planned. The revelation comes suddenly, sometimes even dramatically. But the purpose is always protection. The Sigma may not always understand why people reveal their flaws so soon, why betrayals appear before deep trust is formed, or why masks fall off so quickly around him. But spiritually, these early exposures are not punishments, they are blessings. They are God's way of clearing the road, ensuring that only genuine, aligned people remain in his life. And so, the Sigma moves forward lighter, wiser, and unburdened, not because he chased the truth, but because the truth could not hide in his presence. Number 4, the Sigma's solitude increases right before a major spiritual attack. When God isolates the Sigma, it is rarely loneliness. It is preparation, an intentional, controlled environment where the wrong people cannot interfere with his clarity or purpose. Isolation for the Sigma male is never punishment. It is refinement. It is the sacred workshop where God removes unnecessary noise distractions, and unhealthy attachments, so the Sigma can grow into the man he was designed to become. Many mistake this season for abandonment, but in truth it is divine protection. God hides the Sigma from influences that would dilute his strength, distort his perception, or delay his assignment. In that quiet space, the Sigma learns to hear himself again, the steady voice beneath the world's expectations. Solitude sharpens him. It simplifies his mind and strengthens his spirit. The Sigma male operates best when he is deeply grounded, and isolation becomes the environment where that grounding is rebuilt. God understands that the Sigma's power comes from internal order, not external validation. So he places him in a space where nothing artificial can survive. In isolation, the Sigma is confronted with his thoughts, his habits, his fears, and his potential. It is there he discovers what truly matters and what must be released. God removes the wrong people not out of cruelty but out of wisdom. Not everyone can walk beside a Sigma. Not everyone is meant to understand his silence or witness his growth. Some people drain him, some distract him, and some quietly sabotage him without even realizing it. If they remained, they would limit what God intends to build in him. So God closes doors, ends friendships, exposes hidden motives, and separates the Sigma from environments that no longer match his destiny. The Sigma might not recognize it immediately, but every separation protects him from battles he was never meant to fight. In isolation, God also reveals new forms of strength. The Sigma learns resilience, emotional independence, and spiritual depth. He becomes more discerning, more patient, and more strategic. He begins to understand the value of his energy, the importance of his boundaries, and the weight of his calling. The silence becomes a training ground. His intuition becomes sharper, his focus becomes clearer, his character becomes unshakable. By the time God releases the Sigma back into the world, he is no longer the same man. He emerges with vision instead of confusion, purpose instead of distraction, and confidence instead of uncertainty. Isolation birthed clarity. Separation birthed strength. What looked like solitude was God crafting a man who cannot be easily influenced, manipulated, or broken. So when God isolates the Sigma, it is never loneliness, only preparation, a divine reset, a necessary stillness, a season designed to protect his purpose and elevate his path. Number 5, people who mean him harm become uncomfortable in his presence. Evil intentions cannot coexist with a pure, grounded spirit. Darkness is always uncomfortable in the presence of someone who carries inner clarity, emotional discipline, and silent spiritual alignment. This is why Sigma males, without trying, naturally repel people with harmful motives. They don't need to expose anyone, confront anyone, or declare anything loudly. Their calm, centered demeanor alone disrupts the strategies of manipulators. It's not aggression, it's not intimidation. It's simply the quiet power of a man who refuses to abandon his authenticity. Manipulators thrive on emotional chaos, insecurity, and confusion. They need a mind they can destabilize, a heart they can guilt trip, or an ego they can provoke. But the Sigma male does not live on those frequencies. His spirit is grounded. His emotions are regulated. His perspective is steady. When someone with hidden motives approaches him, they quickly realize there is nothing to grab onto, no fear to exploit, no desperation to manipulate, no validation seeking to control. His peace is too firm, and his discernment is too sharp. That alone makes deceptive people feel exposed in his presence. They sense that their tricks won't work here. This phenomenon is more than psychology, it is spiritual. A Sigma male's internal alignment with honesty, self-respect, and higher purpose creates a kind of invisible shield around him. People with deceitful intentions feel spiritually out of place near him, as if they are standing in a light that reveals all their shadows. They often withdraw without knowing why. They lose interest before acting. They avoid him even when they initially planned to use him. This is divine repelling, an unseen protection that operates quietly, consistently, and without effort. God shields those who guard their spirit. When a man walks with discipline, humility, and integrity, heaven reinforces his path. Harmful people are redirected. Toxic connections dissolve. Hidden threats fall away before they ever reach him. A Sigma male doesn't have to fight every battle or defend himself against every scheme. His grounded energy creates a spiritual boundary that protects him far before conflict even begins. This is why the Sigma male's journey feels solitary at times, not because he is alone, but because God clears the path ahead of him. Not everyone is meant to walk beside a man who carries that much clarity and inner strength. And those with evil intentions can't survive in the presence of someone whose spirit refuses to crumble. Number 6, betrayals happen early instead of later. God often protects you not by removing people from your life, but by revealing who they truly are before your heart travels too far. Instead of allowing long-term deception to take root, he permits small betrayals, quiet disappointments, and subtle shifts in behavior to surface early. These moments sting, but they are divine warnings disguised as discomfort. A slight lie, a small act of selfishness, or an unexpected change in loyalty becomes a window into a person's character, showing you the truth before you invest your time, trust, or spirit too deeply. It is never easy to accept these revelations. In fact, they often hurt more precisely because you cared, hoped, or believed differently. But God uses these early fractures to spare you from greater heartbreak later. He lets the mask slip while the bond is still thin, while you are still strong enough to walk away, and before your purpose becomes entangled with someone who cannot carry it. What feels like a painful betrayal is, in reality, a form of protection, the blessing you rarely recognize in the moment. Sometimes God saves you by showing you the truth sooner than you expected, but exactly when you needed it most.